दर्शकहरू, आजको अर्थ संवादको प्रसङ्ग अलि फरक हुन सक्दछ, तर नेपालको आर्थिक विकास र उद्योग व्यवसायको प्रसङ्गभन्दा फरक छैन। नेपाल उद्योग परिसङ्घले अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय स्तरको आर्थिक एवं प्राविधिक क्षेत्रको परामर्शदाता संस्था फास्ट एन्ड सुलिभानुसँगको साझेदारीमा काठमाडौँको सोल्टी होटलमा मङ्गलबार नेपाल बिजनेस एक्सिलेन्स अवार्ड 2017 घोषणा र अवार्ड वितरण कार्यक्रमको आयोजना गरेको थियो। नेपाल बिजनेस एक्सिलेन्स अवार्ड 2017 को अवार्ड विभिन्न उत्कृष्ट व्यावसायिक सङ्घ संस्थाहरूलाई प्रदान गरिएको थियो। प्रस्तुत गर्दछौं नेपाल बिजनेस एक्सिलेन्स अवार्ड वितरण कार्यक्रम।
Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today to celebrate the success of companies that have demonstrated deployment of sustainable and investor-friendly business models in Nepal. On behalf of Frost & Sullivan and Confederation of Nepalese Industries, I welcome you all to the first edition of Nepal Business Excellence Awards. Tonight, we shall recognize and honor the efforts of organizations that are making Nepal proud. The best will walk away with the Super Platinum Award of this year. As a prelude to the awards evening, may I please invite Mr. Hari Bhakta Sharma, President CNI, to come on stage and please say a few words. Mr. Hari Bhakta Sharma.
Former Chairman of Council of Ministers and Chief Justice of Nepal, Mr. Khilraj Regmi, distinguished guests, especially the secretaries from Government of Nepal, ex-vice chairmen of National Planning Commission of Nepal, dignitaries, senior members of CNI industry, chambers, and officials from government, security agencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, media colleagues. I'm delighted to welcome you on this particular event, which CNI had conceived for the first time to award businesses that have excelled in their performance, created avenues in a country which we believe that have had a very serious backdrop and challenges that companies face to operate, to grow, to make their business sustenance in Nepal. We are also equally privileged to thank our members, the industries, the businesses who participated on this. This is something which we have started for the first time, auditing companies, getting their business insights and awarding them for the best performance that they have created in the country. On behalf of CNI, I thank you all for joining with us, welcome you on this August gathering, and I'm hopeful that in future occasions, we'll continue to bring better ideas, we'll continue to create avenues for businesses in Nepal, we'll continue to create brands that probably will compete globally through similar exercises and through the learning process that we start today. Thank you very much.
So we now commence with the announcement of the Certificate of Merit. The Certificate of Merit is being awarded to companies that have demonstrated high level of commitment to adoption of business excellence initiatives and have started their journey in this direction. These companies aspire to be the best in the country and are in the process of adopting global processes. We salute their dedication and commitment to building robust businesses. To give away the Certificate of Merit, I would now like to call upon Mr. Mangesh Lal Shrestha, Managing Director, Frost & Sullivan, Nepal, to come on stage. And to join Mr. Shrestha, we have Mr. Anuj Agrawal, Director, Vishal Group and Vice President, CNI. Please welcome Mr. Shrestha and Mr. Agrawal with a round of applause. The winner of the first Certificate of Merit is Alpha Beta Institute Private Limited. Please welcome Ms. Diya Sharma on stage to receive the recognition. away the second Certificate of Merit. Just a short drive from the hustle bustle of Kathmandu Valley, this green hillside is sure to drive all your blues away. With a strong focus and initiative towards sustainable practices, this company has set itself a unique vision of extending the traveler's stay by another day in Nepal. Pleasantly surprising to note is the well-thought-out governance methodology and the use of IT towards establishing a robust performance tracking that even covers the chef. Please put your hands together to applaud Chandragiri Hills Limited as the next winner of the Certificate of Merit. Congratulations once again, and thank you, Mr. Agrawal and Mr. Shrestha, for doing the honors. Please take your seats. Now, to give away the next set of certificates, I would like to call upon Mr. Nitin Kalotia, Director, South Asia and Middle East, Frost & Sullivan, to please come on stage. To join Mr. Kalotia, I would also like to invite Mr. Narendra Prasad Upadhyay, Secretary, Ministry of Children, Women and Social Welfare. Please welcome him with a round of applause. The third Certificate of Merit. With a young and energetic team, this organization is taking fast paces towards being reckoned as a key player in the financial market in Nepal. With a strong banking legacy to add support, they are continuously looking towards bringing in new products and delivering value to the common investor. Working a step ahead of the regulators, this organization, at the threshold of expansion and building a larger reach to all parts of the country. Please join me in congratulating NIBL Capital Markets Limited for being the winner of the Certificate of Merit. Congratulations, NIBL Capital Markets Limited. Now, our fourth recipient, technical strengths in the field of project financing and a strong focus on retail banking. This organization has defined a business path for the next 5 years. An experienced team at the helm and defined process of identifying liquidity and credit risks. The team has a well-established portfolio management process. With the recent merger of 4 banks, their organization is expanding its reach across Nepal and building momentum to be a key player in the banking industry. Please put your hands together for our penultimate winner of the Certificate of Merit, NMB Bank Limited. I would like to call upon Mr. Sunil Casey, Chief Executive Officer, NMB Bank Limited, to come on stage and receive the award. Once again. Now the final recipient of our Certificate of Merit. Part of the lucky group, this company was established in 2008 by 3 young entrepreneurs. Today, this company is amongst the top 3 mobile handset players in the country and is the only company in Nepal to successfully establish mobile handset brand of Nepal. With a commitment to improve customer service of their product and services, the organization has launched various innovative and customer-oriented initiatives. The success of these initiatives, is seen in the increasing market share of this organization. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Teletalk Private Limited to receive the final Certificate of Merit. I would like to call upon Mr. Rohit Gupta, Chairman, Teletalk Private Limited, to come on stage. Thank you, Mr. Nitin Kalotia and Narendra Prasad Upadhyay for doing the honors. We will have a panel discussion now on whether Nepalese companies will be globally competitive by 2022, an utopic assumption or a possible reality. Moderated by Mr. Arup Zuchi, Global President and Managing Partner in Frost & Sullivan, the panel will discuss the role of business excellence in making this vision a reality, along with the challenges for industries, the government policies, infrastructure, etc., that will be required to become competitive globally. To commence the panel discussion, I would like to call upon Mr. Arup Zuchi, again, Global President and Managing Partner Frost & Sullivan, on stage. And please welcome our panelists, Mr. Shishir Dhungana, Secretary, Ministry of Finance, Mr. Narendra Prasad Upadhyay, Secretary, Ministry of Children, Women and Social Welfare, Mr. Puneet Varshne, Managing Director, Bottlers Nepal Limited, Mr. Anuj Agrawal, Director, Vishal Group and Vice President, CNI.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us in what I hope will be 30 minutes of, I like to call it the powwow session. So with limited time, let's get started. So gentlemen, thank you very much for coming and taking this bold front of representing this big challenge that we think is going to be hitting Nepal very, very shortly. And that is, how does Nepal, as a country, companies in Nepal, as organization, be prepared for this future? And do you really think that companies in Nepal can truly be competitive? And let me define what I mean by that. Competitive internally, inside the country, to compete with foreign direct investments that will come in the coming years, and including companies becoming competitive to participate in the global markets, of course, starting with countries in the neighborhood, India, South Asia, and other parts of the world as well. So I'd like to get your perspective. Do you think it is possible? Are we dreaming? Is it something we can do? And if not, what should we do? So let me start with Mr. Shishir. I'll start with you, but anyone can take it and we can go from there.
Thank you. Thank you, Anup. I think the Nepalese companies will be able to compete the domestic as well as the international market in the future. Despite of the problems, many initiatives has been made for the enhancing the competitiveness of the Nepalese industries as corporations too. Nepalese corporations has been granted some sort of the facilities, some sort of that sort of enabling environment that we have giving through our policies, that also giving that sort of the positive environment for the enhancing the competitiveness of these companies. The capacities of the companies that has been established in the Nepalese context is going to be enhancing their capacities. So that's why they are able to do their business in the context of Nepalese as well as the global arena too. As well as the domestic competitions. So far, the Nepalese diaspora that are working in the abroad, and those people who are working as well as serving in the abroad, they are also seeing the potentialities of giving the competitive capacities too. It seems that those who are working in those areas, they have shown their possibilities in Nepalese context, and this seems these entrepreneurs, those entrepreneurs who came from abroad, are creating the momentum for enhancing the competitiveness. That seems the global competency is going to be enhanced. Similarly, the FDI comes from the different countries, which along with the FDIs, they are also importing that sort of technology as well as the competency as well as the capacities. That is also creating the positive environment for that, for creating that sort of the environment for those competitiveness too. And besides that, the government has also provided that sort of the facility to enhance the competitiveness. The different acts as well as the different laws as well as the procedure and different mechanism has been supporting for enhancing the competitiveness. of the Nepalese company. Those companies who are able to invest more, who are able to compete high, they have been treated as a separate, treated as accordingly for the enhancing the competitiveness of those companies. As for looking from the perspective of the government of Nepal as the Ministry of Finance perspectives, we have supported in those competing organizations through the various measures from the tax policies as well as the other policies too. It seems it gives some sort of the positive notifications that these initiations, that's procedures, and the blending of the knowledges as well as the blending of technologies will definitely creating the momentum for enhancing the competitiveness of the Nepalese company. It has been shown that the chain business activities of the different countries in the global competitive market has created the positive the environment as well as positive that sort of the attitude to enhance the competitiveness of the Dutch company. That's why I am fully agreed and I'm confident that Nepalese company, those who have the high degree of entrepreneurship capacities, will be able to compete with the domestic as well as the international market in the days to come, because they show the possibilities. They have that sort of the intuition capacities, intuition in the sector. It shows that the youngsters, entrepreneurs who have that sort of the ideas, that sort of the competencies, that sort of the innovations has also created the positive momentum for the enhancing the competitiveness. I think it is the real time to boost up their competency, because the global market as well as the internationally accepted that is the sorts of the bilateral treaties as well as the other arenas also give the positive and supportive environment for that. Thank you.
Fabulous, fabulous. Clearly, a lot of optimism in what you're saying. Very excited. But let's hear from Puneet. You know, he represents a multinational. He has established operations. So Puneet, give us your perspective. You know, we hear a lot of optimism on that side. When you came here, you got your business set up here. You've got such a big brand. Did you see any major competitive threat from this part of the world, or could you just walk in and build your business and grow it successfully? I know you tell us a growth story. So tell us, what's your perspective?
Thank you, Roop. I wish it was that simple, that you walk into a market and you find the pickings are there for the taking. Obviously, that's not true. Since I represent the multinational company voice on this panel, so let me try and bring a couple of perspectives thereof. First and foremost, we as a company certainly, and I'm reasonably sure that's true for most large multinationals operating around the world, while there are a few handful of people, in our case it's just 4 or 5, out of about 1,000 odd people we employ in the country, the rest of who are multinational, they're from outside Nepal, most of a company is made up of Nepali citizens. So it's important to recognize that, especially when you look at a question of ability of people in different parts of the world to handle different businesses. So our businesses, for all practical purposes, are run by Nepali citizens. And it's important to recognize that, and we have built the business together with Nepalese talent, with Nepali systems and Nepali processes. So really what distinguishes then a company which is of local origin versus a company of foreign origin? There are really two things which come to my mind at a very core level. The first, of course, is what was touched upon earlier when we were talking about the FNS awards, which is systems and processes. Yes, it is possible to get in systems and processes from around the world or best practices to come to Nepal and establish them here. But then over a period of time, these systems and processes, thanks to consultants like yourself, they tend to nullify out when it comes to a competitive advantage. So while they're important milestones and important stepping stones, they're not necessarily the long-term competitive advantage you're looking for. The only second point which I think distinguishes and makes sure a company is successful or not is actually confidence. I think the government participants on this panel will tell you, so will the local industry participants, saying there is a local playing field sometimes level playing field sometimes there isn't. Sometimes it's loaded one way, sometimes it's loaded the other. But we have been in the country now for over 40 years. And the only thing which probably qualifies our success has been confidence. So you go into a market, use the available resources which are there, and try and see how best you can build a business which is relevant to the consumers. And any company which can get that right is going to succeed, because there will be a lot of examples of multinational companies who have actually failed. After many, many years of operations, have never made money, who have actually withdrawn from countries, who have actually gone back and said, hey, we'll come back after 5 years, 10 years, and found a reason to get out of a country. They will sometimes say the government policies are not great, sometimes the markets are not ready, sometimes something else which didn't work. But it's so easy to then blame somebody and get out of it. The key is really, can you get the consumer logic right? And if you can do that, that's not a domain of the multinational company. That's a domain of individuals and teams who can get that right.
Fantastic. I totally agree with you. Anuj, you are obviously a businessman in this country. We talked about competition. We talked about confidence level. Do you think you can take those attributes and in your organization for Nepal as a country, companies that operate here, and go into some of these international markets and build businesses that are sustainable and have that made in Nepal, Nepal-based businesses? Tell us a little bit from that perspective.
Saurabh, I think there's no doubt that Nepalese entrepreneurs can take business outside, and it's already happening, right? So there are several examples, whether it's through NRNs, in some spaces, FMCG, tourism, contracting. There are a number of Nepalese entrepreneurs who are abroad and have built very successful businesses, right? So that's one perspective, or that's one reality. If I look at the domestic market, in many sectors, if I look at banking, for example, insurance, FMCG to some extent, telecom, steel, and maybe now cement, we've started to see this blend of international players coming in, and we've got domestic players, right? And many of those sectors, banking, for example, I think the international and domestic players compete head to head. It would be very difficult for anybody to call out saying that the international players are, outperforming the domestic. There may be some areas where people have strengths, but reality is we're competing head to head. In some sectors like tourism, etc., I think we probably outperform the international players. So I think there is no doubt that the entrepreneurship skills and capacity of the entrepreneurs to go outside is there. The only question, the couple of things that come to mind is, of course, the probability of success is higher in areas of competence. So if I was to go abroad and try to build a car manufacturing plant or a mobile brand, it might be more challenging. But if I'm going to go play sectors that I know, tourism, services I talked about, the chance of success are very high. And the other perspective, especially since we've got our colleagues from the government here, in some extent, in some sense, we're competing with our hands tied behind our back, right? Because the global players can come in, right? So in FMCG, in cement, in steel, in banking, everybody from the world, or in most sectors, people can come in. And many of them have a very open door policy. And they can bring the scale, but we can't go out. So how are we going to compete, right? Imagine a big FMCG brand, Coke here, coming in, and I'm trying to compete with them. They're competing globally, they've got the scale. How am I going to ever advertise, right? They get the spillage of the brand, they get the advantage. And by tying our hands, you're actually making us uncompetitive. So I think if we were given the opportunity to play globally, there's no doubt that it will be successful, and that's going to be something that the country will strive for. Right?
Fabulous. Well, that leads me to my next question, which is obviously to Mr. Upadhyayji. What can the government do? You just heard from Anuj, who is a businessman from this country. He talked about hands being tied. So what can the government do from a policy standpoint, from an infrastructure standpoint, from even financing standpoint to support businesses here that then can be A, competitive, and B, participate in the global market? So give us your perspective.
Thank you, Arupji. Very pertinent question you have been asking to me, that from the government side, definitely the first and foremost role to create the business environment, from adopting the policy reform measures or whatever could be the legal arrangement and institutional arrangement, as you indicated, that the process that should be more facilitative to run the business domestically to compete the other companies that are creating the more competitive environment in global marketplace. To my understanding, that the government of Nepal has adopted a series of facilitation measures to facilitate the domestic and as well as the international companies to run their companies more successfully. As you also indicated, that the question here is the pace of change that is, I'm very much impressed by your opening remarks, that the pace of change that is largely driven by technology. You see, the people who are running the business here, they do have a more enormous challenges they are facing. The government facilitation side is different one. Definitely, I agree with you that creating the more conducive environment to do the business domestically or internationally is very much important for them. So that the government of Nepal, as indicated my colleague Sri Runganaji, from the Ministry of Finance also, they are taking the tax measures also. To my understanding and my observation, government of Nepal has adopted the policies and the legal arrangements. Say, for example, the Industrial Enterprises Act, Foreign Investment and Technology Transfer Act, and Banking and Financial Institution Act, and so many other policies and the legal arrangements are in place supporting to the business companies here running in the marketplace. That is one part, definitely that is very much important, and is my colleague indicating that the hands are tied. I don't think that one, but whatever the harmonizations and the facilitation measures are required from the government side, definitely that can be done in collaboration with the private sector, particularly with the companies and then government agencies and the ministries. That can be done. There is no, that confusion at all. The government of Nepal is, restricting to do the business for the companies here, because I understand that one. Say, for example, that the new dynamism had created more competition that is intense in the global marketplace. And what the risk and the challenge for Nepalese company by the end of 2022, we do have the 5 years only, is the thrust that the discussion for the panel indicates that each and every company, they do need the business master plan, so that they would be able to compete in the international marketplace. But unfortunately, most of the companies they are running here are being outpaced by the competitors. They are operating the business in the international marketplace. This is the bigger challenge to the local companies here. Within you see the ranging from the service sector and the manufacturing sector as well. Whatever we awarded to the service sector business awards today, this indicates that the full pace of dedication and the commitment they have shown, they have demonstrated, they have been successful. You see the real-time information, getting real-time information, how the business is moving on in global marketplace, unless and until they do have the deeper knowledge and information. Superficial information doesn't work, and this doesn't happen by chance. No, not at all. They do need to be more involved and dedicated, and they need to be more effortful to make to survive and thrive themselves, to become a more successful business company in the international marketplace is quite important for them. From the government perspective, definitely, as I indicated, that the government is more open and is more effortful to create the conducive environment to run the business here domestically. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Let's shift a little bit of gear. We talked about pace of change, and that was some of the comments I made in the opening statements. We know we are living in what I like to call as Industrial Revolution 4.0, which has terms like digital transformation, digital economy. So what that does is, of course, disrupts many standard businesses, business models, but it also creates a lot of opportunity for companies here because of these technologies to compete a lot more aggressively in the future. So I want to talk to Anuj and ask him, Anuj, what are you doing to bring in these technologies, bring this digital world into your businesses, and how are you enabling your business and thereby making your company more competitive both domestically and internationally?
So, I mean, obviously, the advantage of the world today is access to information, access to consultants, access to processes is very open, right? So I think you're going to see a lot more convergence in terms of local companies converging onto a global standard. And we learn from the best. We work with a lot of global companies as distributor partners or as joint venture partners, and that allows us to learn and bring that back into us. On a second front, the idea is, the other thing that we're exploring, a lot of us are exploring, is we're seeing this whole explosion, as you said, of technology, and technology disrupting businesses, right? So from the Ubers to the Airbnbs and Facebooks, etc., and so forth. In some sense, I think Nepal is under-evolved in that space. And that under-evolved, there are many reasons for it, right? I mean, the ecosystem does not exist. The private equity money, which is required to drive this, is not happening, etc. But in their own small way, a lot of local entrepreneurs are trying to copy these models, right? So we have a local Uber equivalent, we have a local Amazon equivalent happening here, without the kind of free money or that easy money that globally exists, right? So people are using their own entrepreneurship skills to develop those models, and a lot of us are trying to say, can I do it without that 10-year or 12-year loss period? And I think if that's really a level playing field, when we talk technology, whether I do things here in Nepal or I do things in the US or in China, we're all on the same field. And I think, again, I think the government can really can embrace that idea, saying, can I create an ecosystem which drives these startups? And why can't a future Uber, and I think we mentioned that before, really originate from Nepal, right? And why can't we create these ideas in Nepal and take them global? And that goes back to that point that I think it's high time, and that was the point I was trying to make, where the government looks at allowing local businesses to go global. Because if I can't go global, I'll never have the scale. The only way I can scale up is if I can create the idea in Nepal, but then take it to India and take it to Bangladesh and take it to Sri Lanka, and that's hopefully where we are headed.
Fabulous. So let me ask Mr. Shishir, of course, government has to play a very important role, in my opinion, especially to provide that digital ecosystem. And I know you control the purse strings in the Ministry of Finance. So what is the government of Nepal doing to do many things? First, spur this entrepreneurship, because I think the future about Nepal, and because of technology, is not necessarily for young people to graduate and look for jobs, but I'm hoping that in the future there are more job, not seekers, but job creators. So what are the systems, what is the Finance Ministry doing to encourage that process?
Thank you. Thank you for your prominent questions. Yes, Ministry of Finance is creating that sort of enabling environment for that sort of the digital as well as digital in transformation, as well as enhancing the entrepreneurship capacities through the various mechanisms. We have introduced that sort of the policies that boost the entrepreneurship capacities. I will just mention some initiative that we made. We have initiated the Young Entrepreneurship Advancement Program through the use of our youth fund that was created, that momentum for the creating the entrepreneurship capacities. Likewise, we have also that sort of the policies to enhance the local capacities through the financing gap, through the introducing the local currency bond systems that we are going to introduce in our context, which will fulfill the gap of the capital for those medium as well as large scale industries in our context. Similarly, we have also introduced some sort of giving concessions for that sort of the industries or that sort of entrepreneurship capacity oriented people who have invested in the agriculture sector, and that is subsidy mechanism that we have introduced to enhance that competencies as well as there's entrepreneurship capacities in the agriculture sector. Along with these other sectors that we have identified, and we have given that sort of the room, along with the financial support. We have supporting for technology transfer support that we have introduced. We have supported for the training and human resource development skill development program has been started through the various mechanisms to enhance the entrepreneurship capacities. As you clearly mentioned, that the key is to enhance the people to as a creator of the job rather than seeker of the job. That's why we have created the momentum towards that people who have the potentialities And we have supported through financing mechanism, we have supported through technology transfer mechanism, we have supported through capacity building mechanism, and other issues other areas that of the intervention that we have started. And these initiations has made the positive momentum towards the micro enterprises, enhancing the micro enterprises, which will be boosting will be increasing for the platform for the enhancing the entrepreneurship in the future.
Fantastic, thank you. Why don't you have? Yeah.
I think as we discuss this topic, there's one very important aspect of this which we must not ignore, which is really the business ecosystem which we are creating for entrepreneurs, for businessmen and women of the country, and what they are driving. For us, when we come into a country or we try and work with systems which are global, one shortfall we always face, or where we find a vacuum, is having not enough entrepreneurs helping us or giving us options competitively to choose between having various suppliers for different kind of products. And this extends across different areas of business operations. Therefore, creating an environment where entrepreneurs can come in and actually flourish is extremely critical. And what we must not do, certainly in this journey, is create a business environment which is so protective that Nepali companies will not be ready when they go abroad. If and when they go, there will be government policies which will allow some and some will not allow some. But if we create a consistent environment where we do not encourage free competition or a level playing field, to use the jargon, what we are doing essentially is not allowing Nepalese companies to compete in the crucible which is their own backyard. And obviously on a home wicket, companies will have a stronger advantage and stronger ability to be competitive enough and be amongst the best in the world. So I think somewhere in the ecosystem, we must do processes, systems, guidelines, government policy, which allows us to actually build that competitive environment locally.
Fantastic. So a rapid fire round for all of us, okay? You have 30 seconds to answer, okay? So tell me, Mr. Shishir, do you think Nepal industries will be ready from a competitive standpoint, domestically and internationally, by 2022?
Yeah, definitely they can too, with the existing environment. And I would like to mention that the government of Nepal, especially Ministry of Finance, is ready to gear up, ready to boost, ready to change that sort of some sort of that legal arrangement and other mechanism that we should have to be made. The Ministry of Finance is ready to gear up for the enhancing the entrepreneurship capacity of the Nepalese enterprises and make them more competent and competent over the domestic as well as the international market.
Fabulous, thank you. I love the optimism. Upadhyayji, tell us.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Definitely, Nepalese companies have already demonstrated to be excellent enough to be more competitive into the international marketplace in different sectors. But some of the sectors, from the service sector to the manufacturing one, since the contribution and participation of Nepalese economy, small and micro enterprises, the companies are there. Manufacturing in nature, maybe they are not being able to the entire global value chain process. That is still to be done. And definitely innovation and access to capital and digital and physical connectivity together, there is very much important role of those things also to be taken into account. Once that is happened, then definitely Nepalese companies would definitely be able to be integrated or competitive into the international marketplace. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. Let's get your perspective.
So I think in many industries, Nepalese companies are already globally competitive, amongst the best in the world in terms of thought process and what they need to do. There are some hurdles in terms of either capital or expertise in some areas, but from an ability point of view, I have not a single % doubt. And I think it's very soon in the future that we will actually see that. One important point to probably see is that when you compete on the global scale, it's no longer important whether you're Nepalese or you are Chinese or you are American. It's on a global scale, it's one company fighting versus the other. And of course, we'll all be so proud if they are Nepalese in origin.
Fantastic. Thank you. Anuj.
Sort of, I think I'll echo what Puneet said. So domestically, we are competing, right? So many industries, we talked about banking, FMCG, insurance. We are competing head to head with the global players. In some areas like tourism, we're probably beating or we're ahead of the global players, right? So no doubt, domestically, we're competitive. Not across all sectors, and we don't need to be competitive across all sectors. As long as we play our core sectors and we do well, we're competitive. Internationally, I think we're ready today. In some sectors, right? But we need to be allowed to go international to kind of test those waters. There'll be some learnings, I have no doubt, but are we ready 2022? I think we're ready today. And, hopefully we'll get an opportunity to go abroad and prove that point. Thank you.
Fabulous, fabulous. Thank you very much, gentlemen. So in conclusion, as you can see, this panel is super optimistic. They believe they're ready now. So 2022, they will be absolutely at the cutting edge. Clearly, as with any industry, any market, any country that's growing, that is expected to grow in the future, there will be challenges. Governments have to play their part. Governments have to be a facilitator, helping the private sector become ready, prepared, and of course, be in the international markets. But the reality is, for any country to grow economically, competition is a big part. Rather than being fear of competition, you head on, work with the competition through various ways, either by even collaborating with them, even by competing with them in markets. The good news is we have an opportunity to build a sustainable business for Nepal, and I'm hoping that we see more Nepalese companies becoming successful internationally, and especially with the digital world that we will all be living in the future. I think the next Uber, the next Airbnb can come from Nepal. So with that, gentlemen, I know we are short of time, so we won't be able to take questions now, but I will take the questions and hand over to the individual panel members later in the evening as well. Thank you very much, and thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. As a young entrepreneur, this really gives me hope that I'm in a fertile ground of growth. So hopefully, and I cannot shy away from saying, being a public administration student, that there will be at least one woman panelist next time. I would like to request the gentleman to please stay on stage. Mr. Arup, if you could please hand certificate of appreciation to our panelists. Thank you so much once again. We now commence by recognizing the Silver Award winners for this year. We have a total of 2 awards in this category, and apparently both have been bagged by manufacturing companies, so we all know where to put our next investment in. To give away the Silver Awards, I would like to call upon Mr. Satish Moore, Chairman, Lucky Group and Senior Vice President, CNI, to please come on stage. To join Mr. Moore, I would like to welcome Mr. Lal Shankar Ghimire, Secretary, Vice President's Office, for handing over the award. Moving to the first award in this category. This company is part of the largest business conglomerate in Nepal and the second largest beer manufacturer in the country. Innovation has been at the forefront of this company's focus and continues to be the key driver. Use of technology coupled with adoption of global manufacturing systems is expected to drive the next wave of excellence in this organization. Ladies and gentlemen, the first award of the evening goes to Sijiri Brewery, Nepal Private Limited. Please join me in congratulating the Silver Award winner in the manufacturing sector amongst the mega large business. May I call upon Mr. Pradeep Pudasaini, Senior General Manager and Business Unit Head, CG Brewery Nepal Private Limited, to receive the award.
Thank you very much for this Excellence Award. As a CG, we always believe on continuous improvement and total quality, and we are trying to applying the global manufacturing excellence in our factory. In this context, this award is very valuable in the meantime and in our journey. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations once again, CG Brewery. The second award, riding the wave of the unexpected boom in the construction industry, this company has been a key player and leader in the western region of the country. Working towards import substitution of clinker and cement, this company is also integrating backwards towards building a sustainable business for the future. It is heartening to note that they have replaced 5% of overall coal consumption through the use of alternate fuels and are targeting a 3 times improvement this year. Please join me in congratulating Khorai Cement Industry Private Limited as this year's winner of Silver Award, Manufacturing Sector. Congratulations once again, and thank you so much, Mr. Satish Moore and Mr. Lal Shankar Khimere. You may please take your seat now. And now we will be giving away the Gold Awards. To do the honors, may I call upon Mr. Sashikant Agrawal, Managing Director, MS Group, and Governing Council Member, CNI, on stage. Joining Mr. Agrawal is our next guest of honor, Mr. Shishir Kumar Dhungana, Secretary, Ministry of Finance. A warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Please put your hand together for this year's winner of the Gold Award in the manufacturing sector, Mega Large Business, Vijay Distillery Limited. May I request Mr. Samir Kaiwar, Chief Executive Officer, Vijay Distillery, to please come on stage and receive the award. The last Gold Award for the 2017 edition of Nepal Business Excellence Award goes to Mega Bank Nepal Limited. May I call upon Mr. Anil Keshari Shah, Chief Executive Officer, Mega Bank, on the stage to receive the Gold Award. Finally, we are here to honor the highest award winners of Nepal Business Excellence Award 2017. For the first runner-up of this year's Super Platinum Award winner, and the award goes to Nepal SBI Bank Limited. on to the final award of this evening, the Super Platinum Award. Please join us in celebrating this year's Super Platinum Award winner with a standing ovation to Sipradeep Trading Private Limited. May I call upon Mr. Rajan Babu Shrestha, Chief Executive Officer, and his team to come on stage and receive the award. On behalf of Frost & Sullivan and CNI, I congratulate all the winners. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this wonderful and insightful evening. It has been my pleasure to host you this evening. May I please request all the award winners to please come on stage for a group photograph. And I would like to request one team member from each winner group to please come on stage for the group photo.
दर्शकहरू नेपाल बिजनेस एक्सिलेन्स अवार्डमा सहभागी भएको उद्योगहरूको व्यावसायिक योजना, रणनीति तर्जुमा र त्यसको कार्यान्वयन, सङ्गठित ढाँचा, व्यवस्थापकीय प्रक्रिया र व्यावसायिक नतिजाको विश्लेषण गरी एक्सिलेन्ट अवार्डको घोषणा गरिएको हो। विजय व्यवसायी सङ्घ संस्थाहरूलाई हाम्रो पनि शुभकामना छ। हेर्दै रहनुहोला बिजनेस प्लस टेलिभिजन, बिजनेस प्लस, बिजनेस फर्स्ट। नमस्ते।